on Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. They hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Baratans too, cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up.
Yeah, my name is Jasity Kaldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup, and what they are doing today I can't take it, so I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight.
She didn't even know what other weekend man, monthly man, bail man, all sort of things. I don't know what's happening, but good night and welcome to Straight Up. My name is Mark Benchop. Well, the hottest talk in Guyanese community is the freeing of Melissa Atwell, Melissa Holder, also known as Melly Mel. That's the hottest thing right now. And they have some lunatics, some Looney Tunes who want to take a little bit of the limelight away, and they are just breaking down and crying. All sort of mad people right now. It's elections time, you know, and people got to sing, they got to pay, they got to eat. And so all manner of things, right? But I'll deal with some other stuff later. If it's one thing that you know some liars when you hear them. One particular madman saying that I told him to take money from his buddy, and I don't do that. I just don't do that. But it's elections year, and these lunatics will pop up. Here's what I want to say to you guys. Pay them no mind. Give them no energy. The minute you pay them attention, that's when you give them some energy. Do not do that. All right. Hey, good night. Good night. Well, we've had Tom practically all week, right? Neville Seatal is asking for Tom. We might as well just Tom. You guys love Tom. You guys want Tom. I don't know if Tom is available for a few minutes, but I have an attorney at law with me tonight. Stay Allen. She is with me. I want to talk about the legal aspects of things, right? A lot of you out there might be a little bit nervous, and that is why I've been saying to y'all, do not get nervous. Let not your hearts be troubled. Just do what you got to do. Be safe, and don't let people don't let people hot up your head, because people have been calling, oh, Mark, I heard something on TikTok. I heard this on TikTok. I'm like, do not listen to TikTok. Simple as that. Anyways, how are you guys doing? Did you guys take a beer for the release of Melissa Atwell, also known as Melly Mel? All right, if you haven't taken a cold one as yet, I want to take a cold beer. I do. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. But then again, we have my good friend with me, Stay Allen, Esquire. We have worked on a couple of cases together, and we worked on one particular case at this same correction center that Melissa Atwell and others are. But hey, wait a minute. Let's welcome you, Stay Allen, attorney at law. How are you? Good night.
Hi, good night, Mr. Benchop. Thank you so much for having me in tonight. I'm okay. I'm doing well. It's a pity I don't drink, so I can't take a shot also.
Yeah, well, we can take a shot. Yeah, Zoom shot, that is. Cheers, guys, to all of you, wherever you are watching this program right now. Welcome to Straight Up. And again, I know a lot of you guys are nervous out there, maybe because you've overstayed your time, your visitor's visa. Some of you may probably just crawl in somewhere or whatever. And then you are nervous. You have every right to be nervous. But one of the things that I've been saying, Attorney Stay Allen, to individuals, do not panic. Do you have clients who are panicking at this time because of their immigration status?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I'm being overwhelmed by texts and calls. And again, they're listening up to a lot of these TikTok lawyers that, they're fear mongers, in my opinion. So I get a lot of people, they're texting me, they're calling me, oh, I've overstayed. Should I just leave immediately? Or should I call the Guyana consulate and let them know where I am? And I'm advising them, for the most part, they are married to U.S. citizens, or they're children of U.S. citizens, and they have applications in place. So I'm just at the point where I'm just cautioning people and telling them, be calm. You might have overstayed your time, but you're still in a legal position.
Absolutely. Just and thank you so much too. And good night to all of you who have just joined us. Do share the link because we want to talk about the legal aspects of things. And a lot of you guys are nervous. And I have clients who are calling and they're panicking. And I usually say, and if some of them are watching, I usually say, let not your heart be troubled. Just be calm, relax, go about your business. Do not panic. Do not listen to those TikTok lawyers. They're scaremongering. And then when you call their office, they want to charge you a whole 2, 3, 4 cows just for one case. Just relax yourself. Now, I'm not here to bash the lawyers and whoever. People got to do whatever they got to do. But I just want people not to become victim of those scaremongering tactics. And so, do you have clients who have self-deported themselves? Because I don't advise that. It's up to them if they want to do it, because they may live to regret it. But what sort of advice do you give for people when they call to self-deport?
Yes, I had one client who indicated that they were just like frustrated and fed up with the length of time these applications take to process, and they were considering just going back home. I was like, I suggested they should not. Again, it's the final say lies with them, but I advise them in terms of the legal aspect. I let them know that, you're married to a U.S. citizen. You might have overstayed your visa, but you're in a position that, and once those applications go in, the clock, the unlawful presence clock actually stops. So once that application hits USCIS, I kind of advise them to just remain calm and wait the process out.
Sandra Broderson is saying, remind them, Mark, let not their hearts be troubled. Let not their hearts be troubled indeed. All right. If you're now joining us, we're getting down to some issues here, and we want you guys to understand the process. You have made a point. Yeah, sorry about that. We lost the attorney there for a quick minute. Probably has to deal with a situation. However, so once you have an application in the system and you have applied through maybe your husband or your wife, and that person is a U.S. citizen, then you're entitled to adjust your status immediately. Or you can file those applications concurrently, the I-130 and the adjustment of status, almost immediately. And once you do that, if you overstay, then that is where you will get that waiver. You don't have to pay that extra $1,000. You no longer have to pay that. Go ahead, attorney. You were making a point on that while some technical problems at your end.
Yeah, that's a great point you raised there. With the waivers, the automatic waiver, because if you're married to a U.S. citizen, you have a U.S. citizen spouse, or you're a parent of a United States citizen, then that unlawful presence is automatically waived.
Absolutely. So you don't have to pay $1,000 and these sort of things. The other thing is, and you mentioned if you're a parent of a U.S. citizen,
Mhm.
I just want to know that that child has to be over the age of 21 and is a U.S. citizen.
Correct.
However, if you are not a U.S. citizen and you're filing for your wife or your husband who overstayed their time in the U.S., then there is no automatic adjustment of status there. You have to go at the back of the line and wait for that process. Wait for that I-130 to approve. Do you get a
Correct.
lot of calls, people with just a green card and wanting to file for their spouses and think that they can get a work permit in the meantime?
Yes, correct. And as a matter of fact, I had just recently, about 2 days ago, um a US citizen parent wanting to sponsor an adult child. The child is like almost 50 years old. And the child is here on a visitor's visa, and they wanted to do an adjustment to status. So of course they won't qualify as an immediate relative. So I had to let them know, in the best interest of the child standing the chance of becoming inadmissible, is better they file for consular processing.
Absolutely. And the consular processing, for those who don't know, is back in Guyana. The consular processing means that if you overstay your time and somebody files for you and you go through the consular processing, then you might run into some problems there because you would have overstayed your time. And in order to re enter, you would have to go through a waiver process. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So I wish for you, attorney, as we get over to the Melissa Atwell, Melissa Holder, also known as Melly Mel, to go through the process with her. I'm almost certain that you were able to uh, maybe watch the proceedings today. What is your take, ma'am? Please.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch the proceedings as it it progressed in real time, but I think it the somehow it got onto the social media, so I did manage to see what happened. In my opinion, it was a straight letter of the law case. Um, she was at a master calendar hearing, which does usually that's not for them to decide on the merits of the case. It's just for the judge, the immigration court judge, to identify what the government asserted in their NTA. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the NTA, which is the notice to appear.
Notice of appearance. Yeah.
Right. And that's where they detail to the alien what are the allegations that has placed them in removal proceedings. So today's master hearing is pretty much to go over what was in the NTA and for the respondent's attorney to plead. So they from what I observed, they kind of conceded to whatever the state alleged in that notice.
Absolutely. Just the notice of appearance, which is the NTA. Uh, we've been hearing all manner of things and crazy things, actually, that got some folks nervous, some folks who are close to Melissa Atwell because of these crazy things. But the NTA would outline exactly why you are making that appearance. And she made an appearance today for one simple stuff, which is overstaying her visa, her U.S. visitor's visa, even though she is married to a U.S. citizen. She has had her I-130 approved and has had, what is it, an interview. She and her husband have had an interview, albeit they haven't approved the I-485. It's probably going on 2 years now. What is your take on the fact that she has an approved I-130 and has a pending 485? She has in her possession what is called a work authorization card and a temporary social security number. Is it kind of like, are you surprised that ICE actually picked her up even under those circumstances?
Yes, I'm perplexed, and I think the judge appeared quite perplexed also. Um, Someone having an approved I-130, usually when you're placed in immigration proceedings, is because something would have failed, something would have led up to that, that would have made them decided that your presence here is unlawful. So an approved I-130 along with a pending I-485, you're not in unlawful presence, not at that time. If the I-485 is denied and then you remain in the country, then that's considered unlawful presence.
Absolutely, but in this case, the I-485 was not adjudicated on.
It's not complete. The adjudication is not completed, so she's still here and in lawful presence currently.
Absolutely, and just to have our listeners know as well as counsel would know that once you have an approved I-130, which is the kind of like the brain of the entire application, if the I-130 fails, then everything else fails. You cannot have an I-130 denied and expect a 485 to be approved. Once the I-130 is dead, once it's denied, that's the end of the case. However, with an approved I-130 and a denied I-485, which is the adjustment of status for your green card, you stand a chance of reapplying for your 485 and show that you have an approved I-130, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, absolutely. So again, why Homeland Security and ICE took this sort of draconian measure to go after Melissa Atwell, arrest her, and have her there in the detention center for over 2 weeks on this inconsequential matter. Even the judge, as you mentioned earlier, the judge in shock. The judge said, "Why is this person here? Why? You're a practicing attorney. Are you surprised that the judge is saying, why am I even dealing with this case?"
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, judges are humans after all. So, and then, like I said, it was a straight letter of the law case. You have a pending. As a matter of fact, if you were put in removal proceedings prior to having an approved I-130, you can still beg leave of the court to file those applications. If you were married, they're considered it's a form of relief if you're in removal proceedings. So either way, the judge was going by the letter of the law.
Going by the letter of the law, he has experience.
You have I-130. Why are you here? It's approved. You have a pending I-485. You went for the interview, attended an interview already. So why are you here? And to be fair, even on the government side, the attorney for ICE appeared to be giving great deference to the court because they realized that they weren't even sure why this particular respondent was there.
Absolutely, the advisor for Homeland Security in today's proceeding actually did some helpful thing on behalf of the defense lawyer who didn't submit certain documents that should have been submitted, for example. And we're not here to beat up any defense counsel or whatever. We are just arguing in terms of how the case or cases should go. In such a situation, the I-130 should have already been presented to the court. The 485 should have been presented to the court to make things easier. But I agree with you. The advisor for the State Department for ICE actually said, hey, wait a minute. We do have an approved I-130, and we do have a pending 485. And according to her, there is nothing in the system that would block them from not approving the 485. And that raised the eyebrows of the judge. The judge asked the question again, why then is this person in front of me? Why? Again, you practice law. Why? And even with that, though, counsel, why didn't the judge just say, this is a waste of the court's time, this is a waste of taxpayers, this case is dismissed, and the judge has the authority to instruct USCIS to approve the 485? Why wasn't that the case today?
Well, I would think maybe the judge is giving deference also to the respondent's counsel. The respondent counsel can also apply to the judge for him to use his discretion, his prosecutorial discretion, and dismiss the case if there's a pending, these applications. the
Yeah.
I-485 and an approved I-130, you can ask the court's discretion at least to or administratively close the case until that form is adjudicated. And if the I-485 is denied, then USCIS can put the client back in removal.
Absolutely. And then I think the judge was heading in the direction to ask, is there anything there? Because the advisor for USCIS, the Homeland Security, has access to all of these things. And then the judge could have asked a simple question: is there anything right now in the system that is stopping them from approving the I-485, which is the adjustment of status application? If the advisor for Homeland Security said there's nothing, absolutely nothing, she did. That is, Melissa Atwell did her biometrics, and that is the reason people do. Your clients have done their biometrics is to ensure that they have no criminal record. Correct. And once there is no criminal record, it paves the way for a smooth process. And then they would have to now peruse the evidence to ensure that it's a bona fide marriage. In the case of Melissa Atwell, there's no criminal record, and there's not a question as to the authenticity of the marriage or not. No question there at all. It seems to me that USCIS, they're satisfied that she has fulfilled beyond anything the requirements. And then therefore the judge says, well, the judge would ask, what is holding you guys back? Approve the adjustment of status. Do you think that the judge understood that and he was just trying to balance things out?
Yeah, I think the judge, of course, he's a judge. He knows the law. He knows, what he can and cannot do. But again, like I said, I guess he's playing the field. He's giving both parties, their due diligence. So he went to the issue of bond. So they addressed bond. And because, again, there's no criminal record for the client, Miss Atwell in this case, and the counsel for ICE also, she deferred to the court. She did not object to bond. She deferred to the court. Great deference was given to the judge in this case to just issue bond.
Absolutely, and there would have been no grounds for the ICE counsel to object to bail when she would have already said there's nothing, absolutely nothing. But I was kind of surprised. I thought that the judge should have allowed her to go on her own recognizance, knowing very well that she has suffered 2 weeks already in there. Pain and it was excruciatingly painful as well, and she has suffered at the hands of some sort of vindictive individual. We don't know what transpired, but something is fishy, in my opinion, for her to have just been picked up like that. But thankfully she has been placed on bond. The judge said, right. Look, were you surprised when he transferred the case and said, look, let the folks out in Brooklyn deal with that? You weren't surprised.
That also is following, strict procedure. You're usually tried in the district where your address is. And so we have New York here with quite capable judges also. So that's something that's standard also.
Absolutely. But there are some judges who would hold back and just wait for the lawyers to file for a change of venue.
Right.
Wasn't the case today at all.
No.
And so
I guess he's probably overwhelmed with a lot of people sent there from New York. He's be like, let them go to New York. Let New York deal with their people.
So they saved the lawyer a lot of time for filing for change of venue.
Filing that change of venue, right? Yeah. Correct.
Good night to all of you. If you're now watching, of course, Melissa Atwell has been freed. She is in the process of ensuring that bond is no big deal. It's just $7,500, and she should be preparing very soon, whenever that very soon is, to head back to New York with her family and friends. So congratulations to all who played a role. Attorney, I want to ask you a question. The judge actually made it clear in the courtroom. In fact, the State Department advisor asked that all reporters that were identified based on their name tags on the Zoom call to be removed. The judge questioned as to why are these reporters there. All of them from Guyana, or most of them from Guyana, they were removed. The judge said that this here should be considered they respect the rights and privacy for these individuals who are detained. Lo and behold, the case was carried live by some Looney Tunes out in Guyana. Let's touch now on the violation of the judge's order. What happened and what can happen to these individuals who violated the court's order?
Well, we all know in the legal fraternity that a violation of a court order is a very serious matter. It's never something to be taken lightly. So I'm not really apprised of what happened in this specific instance. I'm not sure who ignored the judge's order, but somehow, like you implied, it got around. Someone was streaming live. I'm not sure who, if they were a news agency that were on site, I guess, or if they logged in under a different name, a fictitious name. But of course, contempt of court is never something to be taken lightly, and there can be strict sanctions and fines and possibly imprisonment.
Absolutely. So we are hearing that that might be an idea that to approach the judge and identify those individuals who have violated the judge's order. It is called a contempt of court. And as long as you have been given access to the court, there's no question of jurisdiction there at all. Do you see any question of jurisdiction? Because some people can say, well, they have that right. They broadcasted in from Guyana, even though they had access to the court proceedings.
Well, it all depends on how they were able to broadcast it. If they were just sharing it off with somebody else, or if they actually logged into EOIR website. If they logged in directly to the court's hearing, then they made it, they're amenable to whatever. It's like they attended the court in person. So if you logged into the court's website, then you open yourself to whatever sanctions or that comes with that.
And lots of sanctions indeed. And those individuals should understand that this is not a game, and I'm sure that they will be pursued. Now, they can't say that if they're in another jurisdiction, they entered into the court. It's just like going at and commit a robbery, and then the person who drove the car to the robbery place say, "Look, no, I wasn't in there. I just drove the car." No, it's not going to be an excuse at all. Another thing I want to ask you, attorney at law. And for those of you who are now joining us, we have attorney at law, Stay Allen, with us. We're dealing with the immigration issue with Melly Mel, and we're trying to answer some of your questions, those of you who may have immigration cases pending. And so that is why we're talking about the process with the I-130 and the process with the 485. But there's something that I want to ask you here in terms of circulating the photographs of these women, these inmates, some of whom are from Vietnam and other countries, and almost all of them are seeking asylum. How dangerous is this here for those folks, especially some of the suspects are in Guyana, some of them are over here, who are circulating this court photograph, unauthorized photograph.
Well, again, asylum is a very serious matter. If these inmates, you said they're Vietnamese and others, they were persecuted in their country, they're entitled to a large degree of privacy for many different reasons. The persons, if they're being persecuted by their government allies could be in the United States, and they could also be in danger here.
Absolutely, an endangerment of these individuals, another grounds for prosecution of individuals, and we are aware of some of those quote unquote so-called media houses, particularly in Guyana, that have been circulating this photograph, all because of their vendetta against one person, and that is Melissa Atwell. These other women, or even Melissa Atwell, should never be subjected to this sort of humiliation. Especially when the court has ruled, and that is a matter that will be taken up with the court, to go after these individuals who posted these photographs and who carried that live stream. Some of them are already crying. Some of them are already pretending as though they're having a nervous breakdown and all manner of, madman syndrome, so to speak. And now let me ask you this question. You're a practicing attorney. what aspect of law, and how is your volume for immigration cases at your law firm?
Well, most of my work is in immigration and family matters. So I would say like 50-50. And the two areas actually intertwine because a lot of times it might be having to deal with marriages, divorce, and there's some kind of immigration, might be a removal of conditions that's, also related to the divorce matter, or it might be a marriage that's related to petitioning for a spouse. So those two areas, they generally tend to intertwine.
Okay, so the removal of condition has to do with if you're married and then you have a 2-year green card that has been issued for you. Just prior to the expiration of that 2 years, which is just about maybe 3 months before the expiration date, folks are, of course, they should be aware that you have to file that application for that condition or those conditions to be removed. Yep. So that's exactly what the attorney is talking about. You're based in Brooklyn?
New York, Manhattan.
Okay. So you are admitted to practice in New York, New
In New
Jersey?
York,
Where?
New York. I'm admitted in New York, and I also practice in Guyana.
Oh, you
And
do
but with
practice.
immigration practice, that entails any of the states of the United States because it's
Absolutely.
federal matters. Mhm.
Yeah. All right, stay, Alan. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. And I believe this is your first time on 107.1 FM,
Yes,
originally from Linden. All right. Do we have
yes,
Linden people watching? You're originally from Linden, right?
yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. And so your office number, in case folks want to get in touch with you, because you do removal cases. Of course, you and I worked on one particular case.
Yes, we did.
What's your number, please?
646-733-8535.
Harmony Glenn is on the line, and these Linden peoples they do not hesitate to promote their Linden people.
Yes,
Repeat
that's
that
what I
number
like.
again, please.
That's what I love about Linden. 646-733-8535. And I must thank you for inviting me over tonight.
Yes, always a pleasure. And I just let you know that feel free. You're always welcome right here on 107.1
Thank you.
FM. And I
Thank
also know that you do quite a few give backs, and we have worked on some of those give backs as well. But you run an office and you're quite competent. Let me just let you know, I'm giving you a heads up, so to speak, that we may have another give back case to do right at that same facility. Well, Melissa Atwell is at.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you
Okay, Mark.
give your number? Can you give your number again
My
slowly? I noticed
number
like
is 646-733-8535. And thank you so much, Mark.
647. So you also do
646.
divorce, right? Because after the
Yeah.
winter, people
Yeah, I do
divorce.
divorce and then I do marriage.
Thank
There are two
you. Thank you so
extremes.
much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate
Have a good
it. All
night.
right. Good
Bye
night
bye.
indeed. All right, attorney at law, stay Alan there. And it's always good to work along with some of these lawyers. We work in some cases, we work on some deportation cases. And I know Stay and I worked on a case. Of course, she goes in the courtroom. I got a peek from outside for now. But we have worked on a case, a deportation case, right here at this facility. And so we have the information inside out as to how they operate at this ICE detention center. It's not the best at all. And I'm sure that once Melissa Atwell is out, she will give you guys the whole scoop about that detention center. Again, I repeat, the whole scoop about that detention center right there at the Louisiana ICE detention center. It's horrible indeed. It's a private center, and as you know, they make a lot of money. They make lots and lots of money from these folks per night. They charge taxpayers per night. So let's say, for example, if someone is to be released on bond, they will operate at a snail's pace, really, really slow, because they make money per night. And reports about this detention center has come in for some serious, serious flogging from human rights organization. They are again violating inmates' constitutional rights, their human rights, and all manner of things at these ICE detention centers. And it's just a matter of time before more of those violations will be exposed, because it's this detention center, as I've said earlier, is a privately run detention center. So the more people they get in and out, in and out, in and out, the more money they make. All right, let me go to the comment section to see what you guys are saying, what you guys have to say. Kim Walker is asking, where is Tom? You guys want Tom every single minute of the day. We just spoke with a lawyer, so we get that perspective of things as to what's happening from the legal standpoint. And then as soon as the lawyer gone, you guys want Tom. Where is Tom? Where is Tom? Where is Tom? Right. All right. If Tom is available, Tom may make an appearance, but that's okay. He's been on last night. He's been on this morning. Oh my gosh. You guys are overworking Tom. So what else that we can talk about? Look, I want to touch on this here. You know, this guy here, this clown, in handcuffs, went through the shoot, got arrested, all manner of things in Guyana. So he is in no position to laugh at Melissa Atwell or anyone. I'm just saying this. He is in absolutely no position. He has an arrest. Not sure if he has some convictions there in Guyana, but he is in no position, absolutely no position to laugh at anybody. Absolutely no one. Melissa Atwell didn't commit a crime. I repeat, Melissa Atwell didn't commit a crime. Okay, she overstayed her visa, which is an immigration infraction. That has been corrected through the petition of her U.S. citizen husband, who petitioned for her. She has gotten her I-130 approved. She and her husband went to an interview for the I-485, which is the adjustment of status. There is no evidence, I repeat, there is no evidence that the marriage is out of the ordinary, meaning there's no evidence that this marriage is fraudulent. None whatsoever. And so Melissa Atwell didn't commit a crime because the overstaying of her visa was waived by virtue of her marrying to a U.S. citizen. That is why, after applying for the I-130, which, mind you, was approved, during that process, Melissa Atwell, being married to a U.S. citizen, can file for her adjustment of status, meaning she can file the I-485, which is the green card application, immediately. She can either file both together, which is called concurrent filing. She has done that. I'm not sure if it's concurrent, but what I do know is that she has an approved I-130 and she has a pending I-485. And during the pending of that I-485, meaning before they make a decision, you will have to take biometrics, meaning you'll have to be 10 printed. Once you're 10 printed and everything is okay, you will be issued with a temporary Social Security number and a work permit. And also, if you file for travel document, you can be issued that as well. And so Melissa Atwell has been following the law. All along, she has been following the law. And she is not the first person and wouldn't be the last person to come to the United States of America with a visitor's visa, overstay, and then get married. She is not the first and wouldn't be the last. Some of the hypocrites who are attacking her probably have done that, or even worse. Some may have come backtrack, and you guys know what I mean by backtrack, or some sort of illegality. And so, you know, let's be reasonable here, right? Let us be reasonable. She couldn't survive in Guyana. They were going to cut her throat, physically, politically, and otherwise. They are going after her to persecute her. They probably would have, disappear her, just as they have done to so many other people in Guyana. And so she had every right. She was fearful for her life. She exposed a lot of those vagabonds, her way, of course, of exposing them. And we got to give her credit for that. She might have her own unique style in doing her thing, but she has done a lot to expose those vagabonds. And so because of that, she was fearful to go back to Guyana. And she didn't seek asylum. She got married to the man that she is in love with. And so after that, the man who became her husband petitioned for her. It is not a crime. USCIS immigration laws permit that to happen. That is why they say when you're married to a US citizen, you can file for adjustment of status immediately. Simple as that. Immediately, because she falls into that category and she has followed the law. Somebody thought that they were snitching on her, because we know we get some people pomposetting themselves to think that they can make things happen. Some very weaklings, some very little punks, some dunce thugs. They can't make certain things happen. But what I am almost certain about is, and the government of Guyana, the quote unquote government of Guyana, is pretending that they didn't sue and probably try a thing with somebody and say, man, make this happen. And you know what, guys? The intention was, first of all, to go after Melly Mel, arrest her, and deport her with immediate effect. That is what they wanted to do. But it didn't happen. They got stopped in their tracks because there is a process. You can't just pick somebody up, dump them in a plane, and send them back. There is a process. As long as you have that NTA, which is a notice to appear, on that NTA, it will specify the infraction, the immigration infraction, what crime, what immigration law you have broken. And on that NTA specified overstayed. That is all. Nothing else. But those PPP pakus were running all over the place. Oh, she's this, she's that, she did this, she did that, and all manner of things. But when the NTA was revealed in court today, we saw overstayed by 2 days. And the Dunstug wanted you guys to believe that there was more. And the Dunstug were jumping on a mountaintop and they were celebrating, thinking that Melly Mel would be back in Guyana. It doesn't operate like that. It doesn't work like that. As long as you have an NTA, it means that you have to be placed before an immigration judge. The immigration judge will have to read whatever the allegations are against you or against whomever it is. And if there is sufficient evidence, it's called a preponderance of evidence. Once there's a preponderance of evidence against you, rest assured you're going back. And even if they have a heck of a lot of evidence against you, and you claim that if you were to be sent back to the country, you will be persecuted. And the court is very, very concerned with those sort of things. If you say that you will be tortured, that is why they have it in today's proceeding. You heard CAT, which is Convention Against Torture. And a lot of those Vietnamese young ladies, they claim CAT. They're claiming that they are going to file asylum. And lo and behold, the PPP Dunstugs put their photographs all across social media. All because they have this spite and this vendetta and vindictive act against one person, Melissa Atwell. So all these other young ladies, all of their photographs were all over social media, even though the judge said this was not permissible. It was not allowed. Somebody has got to pay for this here. I repeat, somebody has got to pay for this here. It is shameful. It is uncalled for. And this is just how the corrupt PPP regime operate. Now, Anil and these guys might say, oh, they had nothing to do with this, but they knew exactly what they were up to. They knew exactly what they set their goons up to do exactly this. Birdness and all these other persons. That is exactly what they did, thinking that they would embarrass Melissa Atwell because she is in a prison garment. So what? So what? So what? What is the crime? What is the crime? 19 fraud charges? What is the crime? Taking bribery from Sue? What is the crime? Criminal? A criminal infraction? Overstayed her visa by 2 days, according to what the NTA suggests. And then she's married to a U.S. citizen. Is that a crime? She has an approved I-130. Is that a crime? In fact, that is very healthy for her. An approved I-130. And I am almost certain that her next appearance in court in Brooklyn, in New York, the judge would rule in her favor because there's absolutely nothing preventing her from getting her legal status in the United States of America. Absolutely nothing. Not Birdness, not Anil, not the PPP. None of them could stop her from becoming an LPR, which is a legal permanent resident. Not a single one of them. You know why? They don't have the authority, they don't have the brains, and they don't have what it takes to stop it. So they need to stop pomposetting, as we would say in Guyana. They need to stop pomposetting themselves to make it appear as though they have connections and they're bright and they know absolutely nothing. And this leads me now to other individuals. Stop listening to TikTok lawyers. Stop listening to these TikTok lawyers. A lot of these TikTok lawyers are not going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to create an impression as though your case is so bad. Oh my gosh, you got to be careful. Go in and check them out and all manner of things. Be extra careful, guys. If you have an approved I-130 through a marriage to a U.S. citizen spouse, you're almost safe. I'm not saying you're 100% safe, but you are almost safe. Because if you're picked up and taken before, I know nobody wants to be picked up, fair enough. But even if you are picked up and taken before a judge, just as what happened today with Melissa Atwell, the judge would ask, or the lawyer, it is the lawyer's duty. Lawyers are obligated to ensure that they have the facts presented to the court ahead of time. And so the lawyer would ensure that the court has a copy of your approved I-130. And to prove that you're married to a U.S. citizen, your I-130 is approved and you have a pending adjustment of status. You're good to go. So I don't know why a lot of people are nervous. I mean, I can't blame some of you, but let not your heart be troubled. What are you nervous about? Unless if you have a criminal record and a serious criminal record. They have some other folks too, green card holders and all manner of stuff too. People are even afraid to go in for their citizenship interview. Let not your heart be troubled. That is all I wish to say. And that is what I say to almost every one of my clients. Let not your heart be troubled. If you're a holder of a green card and you're here for over 5 years, get your citizenship now. If you're married to a U.S. citizen and you have a conditional green card, you'll have to remove the condition through a form I-751, or you can do it simultaneously. You can apply to remove the conditions, and you can also apply for your citizenship after little over 2 years. You can do all of that. Do not listen to the TikTok lawyers. They will drive you crazy. If you listen to the TikTok lawyers, then, and I always say this to them, I've had a client who have gotten their approval for a green card in just about a month. Miracles happen. You just got to do it right. And we do it right for you. I don't know. Melissa Atwell should have come to us. But I'm almost certain that she will get her green card approved, her I-485 approved. She deserves it. I noticed some of them who were quiet as a mouse, quiet as a mouse. And they were very close to Melly Mel. They were quiet. They were afraid to speak out because they were listening to the Looney Tunes, the PPP Pacus. But now they have a voice. Oh, I almost sung like Tom there for a moment, right? All right, I'll be back on Monday. But tomorrow, Wayne Caesar's on with Over to You. Wayne Caesar's on. Oh, yeah. But I'm out of here. Again, congratulations to Melissa Atwell. She's out. She should be. Once the process is over, she will be out. And we want to hear her story. I don't know who she's going to be speaking to first. And we're not begging for any first of anything. Regardless of where she goes, she has her story to tell. And she has a right to tell her story. But when she's officially out, Melissa Atwell, take my advice. Relax for a couple of days with your family. Apply different strategies. When you apply different strategies, keep your circle small, very, very small. Keep your friend circle very, very small, because it's only when you're in such a situation you get to know who is really for you, and you get to see those who are actually, or those who you thought were for you, actually aren't for you. I'm out of here, man. I don't want to be preaching, but God bless you all. Have a great rest of the night. And don't forget, Wayne Caesar is on tomorrow. Oh, we can't say thank you. Leave it out not saying thank you to Congresswoman Yvette Clarke for standing on the side of justice, standing on the side of Melissa Atwell. And thank you so much, Congresswoman. Thank you so much. To all of you who played a role, whatever role you played, whether GoFundMe or whether prayers. And the GoFundMe thing, imagine the PPP thugs, Duns thugs, ran through the GoFundMe to see if I give anything and how much I give, right? I don't know. Ms. Braithwaite, how are you doing? Brenda Braithwaite and others, good night. Cheryl Thomas went. These PPP people, they're evil, you know. They're evil. Imagine they ran through that entire GoFundMe to see how much I give and then came back to say, Ben, I give nothing. They think I stupid, right? They think I stupid for them see me little change that I give. Why would I not give and say publicly that I give? Why? Come on, it doesn't make sense. Melissa, girl, I put something in the thing. Don't worry them. She's out of here. I haven't seen her in a couple of years, though. I got to go back out and do some public outing. But definitely, I may have a beer with her very, very soon. God bless you all. And God bless the country, our adopted country, America. And God bless Guyana, too. We've got to rid Guyana, take Guyana out of the jaws of those demonic PPP guys at Freedom House. We've got to fight to ensure that the country is restored to normalcy and democracy. Look at the shambles that's going on at the Guyana Elections Commission. Everything is being revealed. Every single thing is coming out right now. I don't know. I'll talk at length about that on Monday. But for now, I feel like just going somewhere for a beer. What do you guys say? Where should I go in Brooklyn? Tell me. All right. I'm out of here, guys. God bless you all. What a wonderful week. And it's ending with just a good bang, a smile, something that's really good. Really, really good. And I just want Melissa Atwell to know, even though they're circulating this photograph with her and those other beautiful women. I don't care where they're from. They didn't, as far as I'm aware, they didn't come out in court. They didn't murder anybody or whatever. They don't deserve this. None of them deserve it, including Melissa Atwell Holder. So this uniform, it looks like Maltese. It is a uniform Maltese and TI, is it TI? And you know, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Absolutely nothing. At least them in there like they say though. I'm out of here, man. I'm gone. I see you guys. I'll see you guys on Monday, but Wayne Caesar is on tomorrow. Tune into him at, what time is it? 7 o'clock. God bless.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%. Get your give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want
My name is Jasmine Caldata, Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Please help me. Who is Slack Bogdan?
Slack Bogdan, the orders are going to...
Did I just hear right?
The same PPP haters, as I said last week. Slack Bogdan, the orders...
Who the fuck?